Well, we just got to spend a few hours with two of the most inspirational people in my life, Mountain and Joe from All Our Kin Farm out here in Williams, Oregon, getting to hand shear their Jacob sheep. And what you're gonna get to see is Mountain doing it skillfully, me learning to do it, and then showcasing the process of taking that raw wool and carding it, cleaning it, and then spinning it through a few different methods into usable yarn, which then we then get to see some of Mountain and Joe's, the things that they've made, these beautiful works of art inspired from old standing traditions. And yeah, I think you're gonna really love the process. It's absolutely inspiring people, and a lot more to come from my friends Mountain and Joe.
Yeah, these are the guys, gals, mostly gals. We got one more. That's you. I should have grabbed that fleece off of there. Who's this girl? This is a guy.
This is a guy.
This is Aspen.
Aspen.
Yeah, he's a little.
Is Aspen new?
He's a ram lamb wether. No, he was born last April, and he's going to be meat.
It's gonna be meat.
Yep.
So he kind of looks like he has like the female horns a bit,
Yeah.
or at least compared to 32.
It's because he's a wether,
So
he's castrated.
Oh, so like kind of cut that development out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cut off his testosterone.
Yeah.
And so, big male horns.
Has he ever been sheared? Is this his
He's
first time?
never been sheared. So yeah, normally, especially these lambs like this age, their wool would have been sheared earlier, because it's a little matted to really make very good yarn. It'd be really hard to process.
So you're just shearing this guy for his comfort?
So we're shearing him for his comfort, and then when we do butcher him, we can tan his hide. It'll be a shearling pelt. It'll be a shearling hide. So the wool will be shorter, and hopefully it'll have grown in some, and it won't be, it won't look like all choppy and stuff. But you know, we'll see. It just depends on when we decide to process him. It's got a lot of land on it. So that's this kind of like yellowish kind of wax. It's like an oily wax. Their skin exudes. It's basically like waterproofing and skin protectant and just all around kind of magical stuff that they make. Do you think you're ready to give it a go?
I think so.
I'm going to leave you right there. It's a good area to go right there. And again, we're not keeping this fleece, so you don't have to worry about the whole seconds and all that. You just cut. Just watch out for skin. If you don't cut it close, then you can't see the skin line as well.
Yeah.
So if you leave that fuzz, then when you pull it back, you can't really see the skin.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Whereas if you cut it close, then your next cut, you're going to be able to see it a lot easier.
Right.
Joe, you want to tell them about skirting?
Yeah. So this is the whole fleece from Midnight, I believe, and it's kind of inside out. So this is the inside up, and put on the screen here. It's nice to kind of get some of that vegetable matter out, all that grass and foxtail and stuff shakes out a little bit, and then we go around the outside. It's called skirting, and you just kind of check. This is not too bad, but sometimes you get like a really kind of poopy area or like a really matted area. If it's like really dreaded up and matted, then it's not going to be great to spin. And then this part here has what they call kemp. It's like you can see it's like a different quality of the fiber. There's little like wiry white hairs in there. So those aren't great for spinning, so we just pull those out.
And foxtails and stuff, are you like trying to get all those out?
No,
not even possible.
No, that's gonna like keep on being a thing at each step of the process. Like,
all the way to where you're knitting, you're just like pulling foxtails out?
Exactly, yeah, definitely. I mean, and I don't know, like he was saying to you guys, we're not professionals, and certainly, you know, if you sent this off to a mill, it would come back and it would be perfectly clean and have nothing in it at all. But that's not how ours is. Ours is like, okay, we're being patient with the vegetable matter, every step of the way. A lot of it comes out in the carding.
It just shows you what goes into the actual production of wool.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you take machines out, right?
Exactly.
And it's just you and your hands.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's really illuminating, like in this, and also in growing food and all the other things we do, is like, if, like we're so used to it just being right there and being like uniform and clean and perfect, and it's like you only get that if there's not only machines involved, but like machines dominating the whole thing. And what gets lost, you know, like all the relationships that get lost along the way in that, and the intimacy and the slowness, you know, like I know he was talking about, like it's a virtue to do it slowly, right? And to like then have a sweater that you're like, not only do I know how this was made, but I know who this is, right? So we're trying to teach ourselves, modern people trying to teach ourselves again how to do things without relying on all the machines, and what that wakes up in us, you know.
Then it's just so rich.
Yeah.
You know, to go through this entire process and then have something that you're wearing.
Yeah.
You knew this animal.
Yes.
You loved this animal.
Yes.
You chased and laughed and like, and the animal was made from the landscape you live within. It's just pretty much as cool as it gets.
Because we have different color wool on these sheep, which is really cool. We can do different things with it.
Super cool.
We'll separate colors. Midnight notoriously is not easy to separate. She's like more mixed in gray, but like Magic had this like big huge section of really good white, and so we separated out. We went through the other fleeces and we separated out these like this is all the reliably white fleece, and then this one has all the like reliably dark, and then that bag over there I think we're probably just gonna put this whole fleece in is the mixed, and that makes a really beautiful gray.
Just going right in?
Yeah, I think it's not even worth trying to separate hers.
This will be the fusion bag.
Yes.
Cool.
Good. And I think there's another one that needs to be skirted up here. We're not like land holding people or wealth holding people. And so, and I think that's a really important aspect of all of this work is like there's so much privilege, and there's so much about the access to land that goes into whether or not we can have these kind of relationships. So, you know, we were renting and didn't have money to buy land and didn't have access to land for several years, like for our whole lives, but several years while we were married. And he was just like obsessed with sheep. We did learn how to process wool and spin and all of that through Bolat's kitchen when we were studying with Martine Frechtel. And then Mountain got so into like weaving and like looking at all the gorgeous weavings from all around the world and just like really wanting to do that. And so we were buying wool and like raw wool and processing it and spinning and weaving and stuff for a few years, and you know, learning and kind of doing like the DIY kind of just like see how it goes. And then in 2021 we moved to a place, we went to go take care of his parents actually, and in that scenario we were living on 6 acres that wasn't ours, but we could live there and do whatever we wanted. And so it was like the first time in our lives where we're like, oh, we actually could have some livestock. And I decided to surprise him for his birthday with like, hey, how about we get these sheep? And I did a little crowdfunding in our family, and like I put together a little PowerPoint presentation about Jacob's sheep, and
A little pitch deck for the fam.
and I shared it with everybody. I was like, Mountain has been obsessed with sheep for years. He really wants sheep. Would you pitch in and help me buy some sheep for him? And we did. We raised all the money that we needed for our starter flock. So so we were together for years first. We were spinning and weaving for years first, and he was talking about it for years before it happened. Now that we've got it kind of pretty well skirted here, this is a great example of like, look at this nice patch of white. Like, I know I'm going to spin that and it's going to be reliably white, and this part here is like where it gets mixed a bit. So I just pull apart like that and say, okay, this whole bit here is going to be in the white bag. Right, what a nice
Beauty.
batch of white right there. And then you can probably get some.
Try and keep this
good
dark,
black.
like right here.
Yeah, if you have like see this bit here is like, okay, I can count on that being black.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is gonna go in the
Is
mix
this
bin.
gray actually though, or do you want that?
Well-
Would that make it into the black?
Yeah, none of it's like black.
Yeah.
But this is, and you'll have like little white bits kind of in it. But if you put that together, that's pretty black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were
All right. That's going to go in the mixed.
So coming from where we just were, this has been washed, and what's that look
So you
like?
take from where you were there, and then you soak it in hot water for 20 minutes or so to loosen up the lanolin. And then you drain that, and then you use same temperature water so you don't wind up like felting. You know, with wool you always want to use same temperature water. So you put that same temperature water with some detergent. We use, what is it called, unicorn something? Unicorn soap?
Mm-hmm.
So then you press it, you know, you don't want to agitate it, but you like press it in the soapy water, let it sit, drain it, rinse it, and you do that maybe a couple times depending on how dirty your wool is until your water's coming pretty clean.
Mm-hmm.
And then you call it clean wool, quote unquote clean.
Quote unquote.
It's washed.
Yeah.
But then you have to go through this process of carding. So see, this is like, that's nice looking right there.
Mm-hmm.
So then you put it on the carders. And there's a lot of different ways of doing this, and we kind of have our own way that we like to do it. And a lot of other people have different ways and different tools.
Well, I mean, I have the right way.
There's a lot of different ways it can be done that are all equally valid.
But there's really only one right way.
So basically,
And that's how
you're trying to kind of brush it out and get the fibers to all, well, in some version of it, you're getting all the fibers to go exactly together in the same direction, and that gives you what's called worsted wool, which is a smoother yarn and a tighter yarn. So it's more like, maybe like sock yarn would be like that. And then in another version, which is the kind that I like to do, it's woolen yarn. And that's got more of a halo. It's like, it's fluffier and thicker, and like, you know, the kind of yarn you see, and there's like a bit of a halo around it, like a bit of loose, like
a bit of fluff.
straight, like a fluff, yeah.
Yeah.
And that has a lot more air in it, so it's actually warmer.
Yeah.
So it's more of like
It's
what you would, like
loftier.
a heavy sweater
Mm-hmm.
would be that kind of wool. And I like to do that. And that's what you would do with this kind of carding. So you like get it set up like that, and then you start brushing it like this. And so you're gonna lose some of that vegetable matter in this process. It's gonna start kind of falling out.
Yeah. If you do this in the house, it makes a good mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sweep up after.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's really cool is that, to me, both of you represent just a certain, like, willingness to get into the mix and just do it and figure it out. And I think the reality that you weren't brought up in these skills, you weren't brought up raising sheep, but you figured out through just trial and error, which I think everyone has access to trial and error.
Right, exactly.
And
Get
like what
into
we're gonna
it.
get to see, like you have finished products of wearable garments and different things that start to finish from your own sheep. So whether it's professional or not, it's all there.
Yeah.
We'll check back in 20 years too. Maybe you'll be like, oh, professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be well outfitted anyways.
Yeah, you'll be well clothed,
Yeah.
adorned, and lots of woolens.
Okay, so that's nice and fluffy now. And you can take that.
Right, so let's compare that to like this.
Yeah. So you kind of, you roll that up, and then you can spin right off of that. You can draw right off of that. So this is a drop spindle.
You want me
We
to
actually
show?
made it, which is nice. You can make your own stuff, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, like everything.
Look, I made this spinning wheel.
Right.
I'm trying to put together.
But this is like a little clay weight, little clay. What do they call them? Whirl.
Whirl. Yeah.
And then just a wooden dowel in
Spindle whirl.
between.
You made that one?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
then
we made that at Martine's.
yeah, this was part of one of our lessons. And so I first learned how to spin on a drop spindle like this, but then I started getting into the lap spindle, which I'll kind of demonstrate in a minute, but I really prefer this and have not done this one in a long time. But basically when you're going, you just want to like interlock the fibers. So you're starting a new bit here, and you're taking the old bit, and let's see, that's right. You get them to lock in with each other, and then you just start drawing and spinning, and you get that twist to travel up in there. I don't know if you can see that bit, but it really travels up. Oh, that's kind of let me. And then you can see there's a little bit of EM as you go. You can pull it out. It's no big deal. You can clean it up as you go. And then you spin it on here and set it for the next one. I just love the whole experience that you can think about and intellectualize, but more it's like in your hands, the way the fiber wants to be yarn, it works. It just it has this knowledge about spiraling together and locking into itself, and as you're going, it's just if you get in the rhythm and you're doing it and you're in the flow with the material, it's yeah, we're going that way, we're spiraling, and then you get this whole I don't know, I feel like a deeper lesson starts to come in when you're in the zone with it about just the nature of movement in life and spiraling and the way that things grow and the way that things are shaped, the shape of life, you know. It's just it can be very
Far out.
beautiful, very meditative, very deep. Yeah.
So I'm going to show the other way. So she did the carders, and then the other way that you can process wool is with combs. Combs are even older because you can make these out of wood, bone, anything. And so these are really old technology. And I'll show you. I made these myself. I bought these weird little hair picks. They're like Black Power, Afro picks.
Yeah.
And cut the hand off, and then mounted them just to a piece of wood. And then you basically, the easiest way I've found is to just clamp one down, And then you take your raw wool and you kind of find the tips. If you find the tips and you just kind of pull out the tips like that, and then you mount not the tip end but the base end in, and you can see how much vegetable matter in there. We call that VM is still in there. And it's one of the really cool things about this method is that it will take all of that out. It does end up in with a bit more waste than carding, but you'll see just how wonderfully it works. So basically you're just pulling these tips and just getting kind of your aligned fibers and then mounting, putting them on with the base of the locks in and the tips pointing out. And then once you have them loaded, you take your other one and you just start combing it. And you kind of start out at the tips and you'll see it start to kind of fluff up and spread out. And if we weren't sitting over dirt, you would see the pile of dirt that would start to accumulate down at the bottom.
Yeah, I can see all the debris falling out bit by bit.
And so basically, you're kind of, I like to go sideways with one comb to the next, because going like this, you'll catch, and so that way you can kind of keep it all going from one comb to the other. Like so. The issue with this method is that it does end up in some waste, but you end up with a much cleaner product. And you can see this little pile has a lot of the, like the little seconds that we were talking about earlier. They all just get kind of caught in here, and like all these little kind of impurities, like there's still some vegetable matter. There's like a piece of second right there. There's these little kind of curls and weird pieces, which when you start spinning, all of that is going to kind of make a little lump or a little knot or something. So that's kind of just waste. And so that's one pass, and then you just kind of pass it back onto this one again. And then this yarn, because all of the fibers are aligned, when you spin it, all of those straight fibers, they kind of squinch in together, and so they make like a more a tighter and more less fluffy, and it's like it has more sheen to it because all those fibers are aligned and they shine. And it's also a little bit more durable. So it's like better for socks and anything that needs like a little bit more wear. And so now I've passed through on the second pass, and so you can see this is quite a bit of waste, but if you start picking through here, you can see that there's like a lot of just little chunks of stuff, like that little chunk of nep right there, and a whole lot of VM and vegetable matter, and just weird little chunks that wouldn't spin up very well. And you can save this and process it more and felt with it or use it for stuffing or whatever. And so then we just keep making passes with this until it looks clean. You can still see there's still some vegetable matter in there, but it's getting much cleaner, getting very fluffy, very lofty, and very aligned with the fibers. You can hear the bullfrog over there.
Yeah.
So again, we have our waist here. That's just little chunky chunks and all this little vegetable matter. And this is getting pretty good. So I'd probably even call that good. You could go one more time maybe. For the most part, you have a very wonderfully fluffy, lofty, and all the fibers are aligned with each other. So she's going to grab the diz, and I'll show you how we take it off of there. So a diz is just anything that has a hole in it, and this one has different size holes depending on the kind of the size of yarn you want to make. So when you take this off of here through the diz, you end up with what's called combed top. And so if you want a finer yarn, you could go through the finer hole. If you want a little bit bigger yarn, you go through the bigger hole. And so basically you just pull a little bit off the edge and kind of get you a little starter there.
Okay.
And then
I've seen people do that, but I've never seen it done in the U.S. South America, half the women are doing that all the time.
That's right.
and then once you have it through, you just start pulling, and you kind of keep your pulls no longer than the length of the fibers, and you just start pulling it out. And it just kind of magically starts coming out in this.
It is magical.
Beautiful.
It's like, how does it just continue to come out like that?
It's good.
Comes out in this beautiful little ready to spin long piece of combed top is what they call it for some reason. And then of course you're left with a little bit of waste as usual, and then you're ready. And then from here you can kind of draft this out a little bit more even and get it ready to spin, depending on the size of the yarn that you want. So then once it's ready to go, you take your spindle and you just start getting some twist in there. And don't get the whole thing twisted in there. So this preparation works really well for a spinning wheel, because you can just put it right on the spinning wheel and go. But you know, it works just fine with this too. You get a little twist going, and then you just let the twist kind of ride up, and it just goes.
And you're just tugging it and kind of adjusting the thickness as it spins?
Yep. And this worsted, it's a little bit less adjustable than the carded wool. Like it kind of wants to stick to itself. So it doesn't give you a whole lot of pull, but you know. And whenever you put spin in the yarn here, it pulls on the drafting triangle and it just twist builds and it just goes. It just wants to go. It just wants to be yarn. And there you go. And so you can see it makes a pretty consistent, nice yarn. This is a lap spindle, obviously way bigger than the drop spindle, and it works in a little bit different way, but kind of the same concept. And the way it works, and the reason it's called a lap spindle is because you hold it on your lap and you just pull it back towards you to build the twist. And then you build your twist and you draft it out. Same concept, you still have your drafting triangle here, and you're just putting twist in the yarn and then letting the twist go into the drafting triangle. And then once you got it like to where you can't really reach it anymore, you just wind it on. And just keep going.
There's all sorts of different technologies from different people from all over the world that have been used for centuries or thousands of years that are fascinating and interesting, and we've found often we really appreciate the way the Dene people do things. It's like, yeah, like the way we lay the sheep down to shear them that way. It's just like, I don't know, it feels like more rooted and grounded and just really nourishing.
Yeah, it kind of holds that indigenous knowledge and wisdom in it that we lost through our journey as modern human beings. So,
and wait, I don't know if you caught that, but when I was doing the drop spindle, Brian's dad walked by and was like, "Oh, I've seen people do that, but never in the United States."
Yeah.
But everywhere you go in South America, women are walking around doing that. It's just like an interesting thing of like, yeah, in a lot of places and over a lot of time, that's been something like they have like these, what are they even called? There's a name for, in the UK, that kind of
the distaff.
The distaff, yeah, that you can hold like a whole bunch of roving on there. And
yeah, you'd basically have this on this big wad of wool up on a stick that you would basically mount into your. It'd be kind of like this on a stick that you mounted on in your belt, and it would just kind of hang there, and then you could walk with your wool in your belt and your drop spindle, and you could just walk and spin at the same time. And so everywhere you went, you were just spinning all the time because you always need to be making yarn.
Right. You've got no factories, no mills. Like every bit of textile that you have is something that has to be handmade. So that means you pretty much have to be spinning all the time.
Yeah.
Like just a constant like production of the fibers that keep us warm and safe and that we need for so many things.
Mm-hmm. And so once you've spun this, so this is called a single because it's only been spun one time. It's it's one single. And to make a yarn, and this one is very cool because you can kind of see it obvious that it is a double.
Mm-hmm.
Two-ply.
It's a 2-ply, so it's been plied, and you can see the two different colors there that have been twisted together. So that's two singles that have been plied together into a double yarn. And so right here she has two singles that she is plying. And so she can sit down there
And this shows you what it looks like when you spin out the mixed bag. So we put all the white and black and everything that was mixed up, and then when you card it, it kind of smooths out into a gray, but it's different shades of gray. And so when you spin it, you get this variable.
If you mix these colors, the white and the dark, then you get this gray.
And after I spun it, I made an inside-out ball, which is a nice little trick. So it's got a string coming from the outside of the ball and a string coming from the inside of the ball, which makes it really easy to ply. And then you just, you do it the other way. You have to do it the opposite way when you're plying. I forgot. When you spin, you pull it towards you. When you ply, because the twist was created towards you, you have to go in the opposite direction for it to hold. And this is the very easy part that you just are twisting two pieces together.
So there you can see the
I
the two singles twisting together to become one yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's becoming a double.
Yeah, and obviously this gets a lot thicker. So, I mean, if you wanted to make a nice warm sweater, then a 2-ply piece of this woolen yarn would be like really fluffy, and like when we started to do samples of knitting, it makes like a really thick, depending on which size needle you use, but like thick, you would probably get really warm in it. So if you wanted something that was more like moderate, not for super cold weather, you might want to go lighter, more of a single ply.
You want to show us some of your workings?
Yeah, so these
What
are
else is going on?
these are some of the yarns that I've made. And these are from our Jacob, as you can see, just like we saw getting sheared earlier. And this is a kind of weaving that's called twining. I might be able to show you a little demonstration here. And so you have your, what I guess you would call your warp strings that hang down. That basically you start up here with a little knot, and then you hang your strings down. And then you just start up here going, and basically this whole thing is just a big spiral. It goes round and round and round, and you can see this is the end of the spiral. So if you follow this back, it just goes round and round and round. You're just twisting. And so you have, right now I have two different colors that I'm working with. And so I have my warp in between, and then I twist once and twice, and that keeps the black on the front. And so then the white is down, and so it's going to go behind. I give it a little tug, it stays snug. And then I do the same thing. Twist, twist, the black goes up, the white stays down. So this pattern that I've been working on and trying to figure out for literally a couple of years came from the oldest pair of pants ever found in the world, that were found in the Taklamakan Desert. And there were these really amazing wool pants that, but the people did not use this weaving style. It was probably probably one of the reasons I've had such a hard time trying to figure out how to do this, is they were master weavers, the people who made these things, these pants. And they wove this pattern using several different methods. But yeah, really cool pattern that they made on these pants. And they were made out of wool, hand spun, just like we're seeing here. Probably made on combs, just like we saw, probably bone or wood combs. And probably spun on a drop spindle. This is a purse I made. The body here I wove on a little small 15-inch loom. It's like about this high. And you can see this was the middle line of the loom. So it was kind of like folded, like I folded it like this to make the purse.
And we figured out that wave pattern because you saw it and you're like, I want to do that.
Yeah, I saw this wave pattern on something, and I wanted something that was honoring water. So this is like just a water motif, we'll call it. And then this is made out of hemp twine, and this is a method of weaving called finger weaving. That is, you don't use a loom or anything, and it's a really old style that was really perfected by Native Americans in a lot of different tribes. They made these really beautiful sashes that became very popular during the fur trade. And then these are other examples of that same technique of finger weaving. This is with wool. This is churro wool and Joe's sister made this. And we taught her how to do this technique, and she made this. And then again, this is the same technique, finger weaving, and this is just wool yarn that I bought. And I made these little decorative borders for this coat for Joe, with different colors. A little centerpiece with a little different pattern. And yeah.
That's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah, we're still learning.